Have you ever wondered why so many black families can trace their roots to farmland, but not to ownership? Let's talk about it. In 1910, black Americans owned approximately 16 million acres of farmland in the United States. 16 million acres. By the end of the 20th century, nearly 90% of that land was gone. That didn't happen because we forgot how to farm. It didn't happen because we lacked discipline. It didn't happen because we didn't understand business. It happened because of policy. And policy, when weaponized, can be quieter than violence, but just as devastating. The dispossession. Nobody taught you after emancipation. Land ownership became the clearest path to independence. Freedmen pooled money, sharecropped strategically, bought small plots, expanded carefully. By the early 1900s, black farmers represented 14% of all American farmers. They were producing cotton, corn, tobacco, livestock. They were building generational stability. And that stability was a threat, because land builds wealth, land builds inheritance, land builds power. Take the land, you take the future. How it was taken. This wasn't one single law. It was a system. Black farmers were denied bank loans, denied crop insurance, denied access to federal relief programs, denied timely USDA assistance. Meanwhile, white farmers were routinely approved. When crops failed, white farmers received federal intervention. Black farmers were often told to wait, and waiting meant foreclosure. Between 1920 and 1997 alone, black farmers lost more than 12 million acres. 12 million acres is not an accident. That is engineered collapse. The tactics were precise tax manipulation. Counties would reassess black-owned land at inflated values. Taxes rose, miss one payment, and the land could be auctioned. Fraudulent contracts. Predatory lenders structured agreements designed to fail. Balloon payments, hidden clauses, partition sales. Heirs' property, land passed down without formal wills, became a weapon. A distant relative could sell their small share to a developer, who then forced a court-ordered sale of the entire property. Families who had held land for generations watched it disappear in months. Racial terror, intimidation, threats, arson. Night riders weren't just about social control. They were about economic control. And then there was the USDA discrimination. For decades, black farmers filed complaints about discriminatory lending practices within the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Loan approvals were delayed, applications lost, funding arrived too late for planting season. A farmer who can't plant on time doesn't harvest. A farmer who can't harvest can't pay the loan. Foreclosure followed. In 1999, the Pigford versus Glickman settlement acknowledged decades of discrimination against black farmers. The federal government agreed to pay billions in settlements. But here's what most people don't understand. A settlement check does not restore generational land. You can't recreate 80 years of inheritance with a lawsuit. The silent wealth transfer. When black land was lost, it didn't disappear. It was absorbed, developed, resold, leveraged, used as collateral for generational wealth. The same acres that once sustained black families now anchor suburban developments, commercial agriculture, and generational white wealth. And the children of those dispossessed families? Many migrated north during the Great Migration with nothing but memory, from landowners to renters in a single generation. That's not market fluctuation. That's extraction, a personal memory we all recognize. If you grew up in a black family, you've heard some version of it. My grandfather had land. My great-aunt owned acres down south. We had property, but we lost it. Notice the pattern. There is always land in the story, and there is always loss, but rarely explanation. The explanation is policy. Why land still matters. Land is more than soil. It is leverage. It is political power. It is food security. It is inheritance without permission. When you own land, you control housing. You control agriculture. You control development. You control access. Without land, you depend on systems, and systems that once dispossessed you can do it again. The system is failing us. Look at food deserts. Look at rising rent. Look at gentrification. Look at corporate farmland consolidation. Small farmers of every race are struggling, but black farmers are still disproportionately underrepresented and underfunded. In 1920, nearly 1 million black farmers worked American soil. Today, that number has dropped to under 50,000. That's not just decline, that's erasure. We are not powerless. Across the country, there is a quiet return happening. Young black farmers reclaiming ancestral land, collectives purchasing acreage, urban farming movements rebuilding food independence, legal reform around heirs' property protecting family inheritance. Land trusts are forming. Cooperative ownership models are rising. Agricultural education is being reclaimed. The same resilience that built 16 million acres once can build again. Because we never lacked discipline, we lacked protection. We will not fail ourselves. The system failed to protect black landowners, but we will not fail our own future. It's time to write wills, protect heirs' property, understand zoning laws, learn agricultural policy, invest in cooperative ownership. Land is not nostalgia, it is strategy. And this isn't about revenge, it's about restoration. Because when you take the land, you take the future. And when you reclaim the land, you reclaim agency. This is not ancient history. The dispossession of black farmland is one of the largest land losses in American history. And it happened quietly. No national mourning, no school textbook chapter, no economic reckoning, but its fingerprints are everywhere. In the racial wealth gap, in housing inequality, in food insecurity, in generational economic fragility, the effects are still visible. It's time to stop whispering about the acres we lost, time to study the contracts, time to protect the inheritance, time to purchase strategically, time to build collectively. The system may fail us again, but we will not fail ourselves, because we've done it before. From nothing, from ashes, from exclusion, 16 million acres once stood as proof, and proof can rise again. Comment if you'd like to hear more about black land loss and restoration, and go to my videos to see more. We don't glorify injustice, we reveal truth, so history can't repeat itself.